Hello everyone, welcome back to the class. So for this week, we have another reading that is 2 chapters from the long novel The Scholars. And because that novel is actually written in the almost the same time with Zhang Dai's writing, a little bit later, but still within the same time period. So I think that will be very interesting for us to put them side by side and get an overall idea of how people in the early modern China understand food, understand eating as a ritual, as a everyday practice, and also understand Chinese taste and the capital T taste. So I think in this video, I'm going to do a very brief introduction about this book and also its author, and provide some very interesting example for us to do close readings on the description of food in these 2 works. So first, the author of this book, The Scholars, is Wu Jingzi, who lived from 1701 to 1754. And he is from a gentry family in Lower Yangtze region, so basically the same region of Zhang Dai. So the idea of how people view food is from these 2 works is all from that specific region, the Lower Yangtze region, where everybody is so rich and very cultured, enjoyed a wealthy and peaceful life, that kind of idea. And because he's also from the Lower Yangtze region, so you can see there's a lot of mention of the West Lake in the Scholars as well as in the writing of Zhang Dai. So the idea of West Lake as the most cultured places, the most representative places for literati's dream is very prominent in these 2 works. But just like Zhang Dai, Wu Jingzi never passed the imperial examination, even if he tried. And he is in the official history, it is said that Wu Jingzi is very good to his friends, but he has a very complicated family relationship. So in the end, he sort of squandered all his family fortune and became pretty poor. So he had inherited a lot of fortune from his father, but he sort of squandered them all to his friends and treating his friends and treating other people, and made himself in the end became pretty poor and living in poverty. And a little bit more about Ruling Waishi in particular as a novel. So this novel, the title of this novel is very interesting. So first, ruling means the Confucian scholar circle. So every protagonist in this book is Confucian scholars or literates. And the Waishi means unofficial history. So it's kind of this novel put himself aside from the official history. And it was saying, I am now writing an unofficial history about those Confucian scholars, to talking about the things they did outside of what should be written in the official history, like in which year someone passed examination and get what position in the bureaucratic system and blah blah blah, that kind of official history. So you can see in this book, it kind of pay attention to the trivial daily life of these Confucian scholars, and you'll see a lot of rich details about they eating food, or they kind of meeting friends or doing other kind of trivial stuff in daily life. And also, this is a unit-based story, which means there's not necessarily any connection or very strong connection between chapter to chapter. So maybe these 3 chapters centering on this figure, while that 3 chapters centering on another figure. So for the reading for this week, we will read chapter 14, which is about this particular figure, Ma Chunshang. Actually, he didn't pass the imperial examination, but he took several times to take the examination. So he gathered a lot of experience. So his profession is to edit imperial examination reference books. And chapter 29, the other chapter I assigned, is about another figure named Du Shenqing, who is actually a very different a person from Ma Chunsheng, because he is actually a celebrity in the literary circle. So he is famous for writing very beautiful poem and drinking with people, with friends, and writing essays or other kind of very aesthetic related literary stuff. So you can see Ma Chunsheng and Du Shenqing kind of represent two different kinds of literati living at the same time. And because of their different professions, because of their different family background, social background, you will see their taste about food is also very different. So if you compare chapter 14 to chapter 29, you will see a very interesting but drastic difference between these two people and their understanding of Chinese taste. So now I want to turn to a very interesting close reading on Zhang Dai and the scholars writing about Chinese taste or / taste. So first, this piece is by Zhang Dai, but I don't have an official translation, so I just did a brief translation by myself. And the title is Local Products. So Zhang Dai was in this piece was talking about he loved food. He loved food from all over the empire, the great Ming Empire. So he was trying to taste food from different regions and actually is able to taste the most representative food from different regions. So the title is Local Products. And this is the actual piece, but I translated only the black part. The yellow part is he was describing what is the representative food for each region. So basically, what's the representative food in Beijing, what's the representative food for Shandong, what's the representative food for Fujian, blah, blah, blah. So just a very long list of different food. I think that alone already makes this piece a very special and a very kind of interesting way of writing about food. And if we turn to the actual discussion about this kind of local food, so Zhang Dai said, there's no one in the Yue area, the area where his hometown is. So there's no one in the Yue area that is more Qingchan than me. If and then we go to this part. So if it is from somewhere far away, I will get it every year. If it is from somewhere near, I will get it every month or every day. Every day I was indulged in my food obsession and chased after them, only considered my mouth and stomach. I surely feel awfully guilty for this, but thinking about it now, today there is warfare everywhere and every bit of land is isolated. Even Qiantang, which is only at a distance of a river, I am not there to cross. Therefore, in the past, I could transport food from everywhere, and that cannot not be called fortunate. So there's one word very interesting. That is this one, Qingchan. I just used the pronunciation, didn't put the translation here, because it is actually a very Zhang Dai put two very contrast concepts together and made his own word. So Qing means clear or pure, refers to the metaphysical enjoyment or something transcendent. So that kind of idea. While Chan just literally means gluttonous. So very material, very bodily, and very much related to someone's appetite, someone's real body. So you can see he put these two very contrasting concepts together and trying to say, I am both clear, pure, and gluttonous. I think you can have two ways to understand this word. One way is that Zhang Dai is saying, I am gluttonous, but I can make the gluttonous pure. So I eat for example, I eat the food, but I didn't eat the food in the commoner's way or in the general public's way. I have my own way of taste pureness from different food. Or you can also think about this way. So he was saying, I am qing and pure because I am belongs to the literati circle. That is kind of the norm or the convention for the literati. But I am also not so overall transcendence or metaphysical. I still down to earth because I can enjoy the food and I can enjoy the every bit of the essence or the excellence of food. So I think Qingchan, this word itself is very, very interesting. And also you can see here, he again mentioned he feel guilty. So I think in the forum I also put the question why he will feel shamed after eating the crab. So here again, he feels guilty because now he can never again enjoy the food he used to enjoy, and he can never again take for granted he is able to gather all the different local products from all over the empire. And so he concluded the old memory, the dream is fortunate, while the present, the reality he is enjoying now really is miserable. So I think that contrast idea is kind of shaped his idea about food and about how to understanding the different tastes of food. And another passage I want to draw your attention to is a chapter about Du Shenqing, so that celebrity in the literary circle. That passage is describing Du Shenqing inviting a lot of other people into his house and enjoyed a banquet together with him. And on the banquet, there is a lot of very interesting description about the dishes and about how they enjoy the dishes. So first, Du Shenqing said, I decided to dispense with the Euro dishes today, gentlemen. I have nothing to offer you but fish, cherries, bamboo shoots to go with your wine while we talk. Sure enough, a few simple dishes only were served, while their cups were filled with the best orange wine from the internal quilt store. And Du Shenqing eat very little but drink a lot. To round off, each had a bowl of the choicest Liuan tea with rainwater. Then the host, who had taken nothing but one waffle and one bowl of tea himself, ordered the table to be cleared and more wine brought. And later, someone said, when good friends gather to enjoy celebrated flowers, they must write poetry. That's like a convention for literati. When they gather together, when they eat good food, they will say, oh, now it's time for us to write poetry, and let's exchange poetry and make to remember this kind of excellent banquet. So, but Du Shenqing said, in my humble opinion, it is such a vulgar way of showing refinement that we would do better just to chat. So he proposed, writing poetry is so vulgar, I prefer just to chat. So first, I think the idea of Euro dishes is very interesting. So actually in Chinese that is called 俗品, or literally translated as vulgar things. So Du Shenqing in his mind has a very clear idea which thing belongs to the vulgar side and which kind of things belongs to the refined side. And please pay attention to what kind of food he actually enjoyed or willing to serve his guests. Fish, cherries, and bamboo shoots. On Friday, I will show you a table of what kind of food Zhang Dai is obsessed with talking about, and you'll see a lot of similarities between the two about what is the acceptable food and what can be considered the refined food for literati. And also you can see they mentioned the best orange wine from internal quiet store and the choicest Liuan tea with river water. So they are obsessed with food with location and a special treatment. And I think it's very much like today when we're talking about some very famous local products. We will say that is the best food is from that specific store, or the best food is from that specific restaurant. We are now paying attention to the brand, to the location where the food is made, just like people in the pre-modern China. And now it was saying the host have taken nothing but only one waffle and a bowl of tea himself. It's like getting close to the idea of being immortal. So if you have heard of the immortality, the idea of immortality in Taoism, they kind of propose like you should eat very little and make your body lighter and lighter, and eventually you'll get to the status of you don't need to eat anything in the mundane world, and then you can transcendent. So eat very little but drink a lot, or drink some tea, very much close to the idea of being immortal. And I will say, compared to Zhang Dai's idea of qing chan, pure plus gluttonous, here Du Shenqing is more towards the idea of only qing, so only craving for the pureness, the clear, and the transcendence part. And then he said, let's just talk. And very interesting, the Chinese character for just talk is qing tan, or literally translated as pure talk. So again, you will see the idea of a craving for the pure, for the clear, and for something metaphysical. And then he fetched up a flute, and the kind of the sound of the flute can be described in Chinese as qing cui, literally translated as pure or crispy. So the idea of qing is very, very important in this specific paragraph and in describing the character Du Shenqing. And lastly, you think of the idea of light up some firecrackers and let the smoke permeate all the whole space. Then you will realize when having a banquet, it is not only about eating food. It is not only about your taste, but you also is getting a multi-sensory experience together with sound, smell, vision, and something more. And they all together provide you a dreamlike idea. I think that also connected to Zhang Dai's idea of dream. And I see some very interesting discussion, and we can discuss that in Friday as well. So why we need to construct that kind of idea of dream, and why dream is so fascinating. So we can say here, Du Shenqing's eating or eating action is more than just eating, but more towards the idea of performance or play a theater, theatricality, that kind of idea. Okay. So that's all for today. I hope you really enjoyed it. And please pay attention to kind of details in the readings, which will kind of spice up your reading experience. And don't forget to leave a comment down below, and I will see you on Friday. Okay, bye.